Hey ladies, welcome to the I'm Here podcast. I'm so excited because today I get to host this podcast with my beautiful friend Leanne. And Pastor Lisa, she allowed me to do this today all by myself. So I'm super excited. I'm super nervous, but I really hope that you guys enjoy this podcast. We're going to be diving in and talking all about postpartum, motherhood, all the things, fitness, faith, love, all the stuff. It's going to be awesome, and I can't wait for you guys to dive in. So make sure you guys go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. Share this with everybody because I know that you guys are going to be so touched by this conversation. I'm so excited because I'm here with my beautiful friend, Leanne.
Hi.
And we're going to be talking a lot about maybe some emotional stuff, maybe some practical tips, but a lot about Jesus, of course. And I'm actually super excited because we were preparing this podcast and we're thinking about, hey, who should we bring onto this podcast and what should we talk about? And initially, my mom, she said, go and do it by yourself and talk about whatever you want. And I did not like that plan. So I was talking to our team and I said, hey, who should we bring onto the podcast? And everybody was like, Leanne, you have to bring Leanne. And so this is Leanne, everybody. Not only is she a dear friend, but she's also a coworker. She works here at Inspired Church as well. She's a graphic designer here. So if you see some of the content here on the I'm Her podcast, half of it is made by her. So it's super cool to have her on the podcast, but also have her create some of the content here. But Leanne, why don't you go and you share just a little bit about yourself and what you do other than working out here at Inspired Church?
Yeah, so I'm Leanne. I've been a part of Inspire Church for a little bit over 8 years now, on staff for almost 7 of it,
Wow.
which is crazy to think about. So I've been a graphic designer here for all that time, but while I've been living in Hawaii, I also started teaching fitness classes.
Right.
And so that has evolved into this just different passion, and eventually turned itself into a business that I've been running in addition to being on staff. And so it's just been a really wild ride. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
Jesus has taught me a lot along the way. And then through all of that, I became a mom. So I have a 2-year-old now. His name's Elijah. I call him Little Elijah because everybody thinks of Elijah
my big
here.
Elijah, and then there's little Elijah.
And it's so funny because they're like polar opposites,
Yes.
but Elijah's like my twin.
Yes.
So he's great, but he is definitely keeping me on my toes 100% of the time.
He has a lot of energy.
Yes.
He does. I love when he comes in the office, but he's fast.
Yeah.
He is so fast. But so how old is Elijah now?
So he's 2 now.
Okay.
We moved back to Hawaii when he was 5 weeks old.
Okay, cool.
Which was wild.
Yeah. And then tell us a little bit about your business, Movement with Leanne.
Yeah, so Movement with Leanne actually started in 2020. I've been teaching fitness classes for over 10 years, but during that, transition of everybody being at home, that's when I started teaching classes online. And it opened up the opportunity for me to start reaching people in Hawaii, even when I wasn't living here, and just being able to open up my community for all these people that I hadn't seen in forever.
Yeah.
And so that's when I started my own business. And originally it was called Daily Fuel. So some people are familiar with that. But in the past year, I've transitioned and started calling it Movement with Leanne because I just wanted it to be super clear that we're all about the movement. I think fuel sometimes has that connotation of we're talking about nutrition and diet. And I'm really big on I want to stay in my lane and movement and the exercises is where I'm passionate.
Nice.
So it's all about movement.
Yeah, I love that. I remember when right before you moved, you used to do bar classes in the gym downstairs. And I remember all the ladies on staff would come, bring their towel, bring their mat, and you would do a little bar exercises or just small little workouts, help us stretch, help us be flexible. And I remember, and I probably only attended one.
Yeah.
I remember I would just peek through the
And everyone
little
would be
gym
like,
window.
how hard is this?
Yeah,
and
everybody.
really hesitate. And I'm like, I promise there are versions that are not so intense.
And during that time, there was a time on staff where everybody was into their fitness.
Yeah.
Because at the time, I think there was weightlifting downstairs in the back. There was people would go run. It was just, it was crazy. But I remember the early stages of Leanne's journey as an entrepreneur. And I just to see where it is today, you have over 100,000 followers. I still remember the video that went viral during COVID.
Yeah. It was crazy.
What video was that specifically?
So it was all about core and just saying that you don't have to plank in order to get a strong core. And I think people are just relieved to hear that.
I'm relieved.
You think of this, the traditional exercises and some exercises that people really dread. And I'm like, there's so many other ways that you can do things. And that, for whatever reason, took off. And I had over 12 million views on that one post within about a week's time.
That's crazy.
My phone was blowing up. I had to like cut it off. I was like freaking out.
Yeah. What do I do now?
I was not prepared for this.
I love that. I know that today we're going to be talking a lot about not just your business and fitness, but we're going to be talking a lot about motherhood. And clearly I'm not a mother yet. Hopefully in 2026. In Jesus' name. But I know that a lot of what I wanted to talk about, because a lot of I see your posts and I see the things that you put out there for women, especially the workouts, but you really cater and you have a heart for women who are mothers of toddlers. And you also have a heart for women who are going through postpartum depression, anxiety, body aches, all the things and the pain that come with giving birth. And I think that's one thing that really draws me to your page. Even though I'm not a mother, I just love and can feel your heart for women to feel comfortable in their body and still bring movement to their lifestyle. And so can you just share with me, as a fitness coach, as a mom, as a woman of faith, of someone who, you love God, but you also have a heart and a passion for people and business, how has your personal journey through motherhood shaped the heart behind your business movement with Leanne?
Yeah, I think it's changed so much over the years, because when I first started teaching workout classes, I wasn't even going to church. So that was really me trying to find my place here in Hawaii. And then we found Inspire Church not long after I got that job. And so I didn't really have the understanding and the concept that God could use what I was doing in a career sense for his good and for his purpose. So I never really gave it that credence up front, I don't think. But as it's evolved over the years, I've realized that I can give whatever I'm doing up to God and he can turn it and, start using it for his glory. And so initially, working out, I wasn't going to church or anything. Exercise was really about vanity, you know, and wanting to do all the moves, but just so that I felt strong, looked strong, had the body that I wanted. And pregnancy and postpartum, all of that really shifted to, I wasn't just teaching the workouts because I benefited from the moves. It was I needed this for me. And it really shifted my perspective of wait, why am I here? Why am I doing this? And it opened my eyes that God was I'm doing this because I'm teaching you something in this path and in this process. And so, I even kind of took a step back from my business for a little bit during that time, during postpartum, because I was I need to be doing these workouts. I took a break from recording them and teaching them and stuff for a minute, because I was really overwhelmed by the whole postpartum recovery process. And when I stepped back, I was I actually just need these workouts for me. And I felt I was almost becoming my own client in a way. Just taking the classes and just doing what needed to be done for my own body to feel stronger. And so I kind of worked through that time where I was I just really need the workouts for myself. And now I'm to the point where I've built my strength back up. And I'm okay, now I feel I can pour back in and give that to moms who really need that postpartum. Because that window of postpartum recovery was more intense than I was anticipating. When you navigate something for the first time, you never know how your body's going to respond. So my whole vision for the business and the purpose behind it shifted at that point. And I was okay, God, now I have this. It's yours. What do you want to do with it? And I feel it really shifted from not so much about me having the necessity of it, but now it's more about enjoyment and longevity and all of that, really supporting the lifestyle that I want to live. And half the battle for moms is not that they don't want to do the workout. It's the coordinating. It's, getting it stuck in your head. I don't have time to work out. And the mindset that I can't work out because I have kids. And I'm no, you need to work out for your kids.
And because you have kids.
Because you have kids. They need you to show up strong. And that takes a big mindset shift. So I try to address the overwhelm and those mindset struggles first now. Then I'm then we'll get to the moves. But before, it was all about the moves. And I'm the moves are fine. The workouts are great. I love the moves that we do. But I want to be here for the part of you that's really struggling to get the workout in. And so now I feel all the pieces are finally coming together. And God's now you can take all of this together and really help who you need to help.
I love that. Can you just share just a little bit about, I'm sure people here watching, they know what postpartum is, but can you kind of share what is postpartum and maybe just a little bit of your journey? Because I know that every single woman goes through something different. Some people, don't deal with it at all. And, it's night and day, oh, nothing, I just gave birth and I'm totally fine. And I'm living my daily life as if I did not just carry a baby for 9 months. And then there's some people who really, really struggle and struggle silently. And then also just, I know a lot of, I mean, I don't know a lot about it, but I know just from friends and just hearing stories, even on social media, of people who, after you give birth, you just don't feel like yourself anymore. And then just that whole mental battle, and that the lie of the enemy to tell you certain things about yourself and telling you to do things to hurt yourself and whatnot. And I believe that it's also true. And I actually, like, for me, I don't have any kids yet, but I recently, like a year ago, I like started praying over myself, because I know that some people really deal with it in a really crazy way. And I always, and I know I've heard some stories, and I'm always constantly like praying over myself. I'm like, God, Lord, I'm going to pray over my womb, but I'm going to pray over my mind. I'm going to pray against any horrible postpartum, like, depression or anxiety or anything that could happen. And I even tell my husband, I'm like, I was like, I need you to like start praying for me now. Yeah. Because like this will actually hurt you later if you don't pray for me.
Absolutely. No, I think that's such a great like approach of just being aware of like what it is, like you're saying, because postpartum is just this really vague word of like, you gave birth. That's what it means. Like it's like post in the partum phase of like what your body has gone through with the birth experience. And so it's kind of broken into different stages. So from a medical sense, everyone's looking at how the 3 months after birth is kind of like the 4th trimester is what they call it. And so you think of the 3 trimesters that you have in pregnancy, and then nobody talks about a 4th one. You're like, what do you mean? I already gave birth. I don't want another trimester. Right. But it's really just recognizing that your hormones are still going through these highs and lows as they're adjusting in this process, from the building of your baby to now you've birthed your baby, and then milk creation, all that kind of stuff. If you are breastfeeding, like there's a huge hormonal shift that you go through in order to start that process. And so those first 3 months are huge in recovery, not only physically, but like emotionally. Yeah. And so spiritually, you can take a lot of hits if you're not really strengthening yourself on all sides and having the prayer support that you need and all of that to be, supported on all sides. And that's really where I struggled the most, was I let my guard down. And so I do feel like, yes, I was struggling emotionally with, hormonal highs and lows and that type of stuff. But I realized that the enemy was coming in and taking advantage of that. Wow. And it hit me way harder until my husband started calling it out. People on staff started calling it out, and they said, we need to come, like, you need more support. And they were able to get a clearer vision than I could, because I felt like I was in this fog. I felt like I couldn't see clearly. I felt like I couldn't think clearly. And so they had to call that out in me and be like, hey, this is not how it's supposed to be. Yeah. And I was like, I know it's supposed to be hard, whatever, but it was like, it was so much harder than what, the norm, if you're trying to look at like kind of a normal scenario of postpartum. And so you have to be aware of that spiritual aspect of not letting the enemy come in and take advantage and give you those negative thoughts and stuff of like, you need to have the outside support to work through those times. Yeah. And your husband can be a huge, for sure, support in that. And mine was, fortunately. Yeah. He was praying for me daily. And even when he didn't know necessarily what to do or how to help, he was going to speak up and say something. Yeah. Shout out to Chapman. Yeah. I got a good one.
How long did it take you to kind of overcome postpartum?
Yeah. So I think, I wish I had been told sooner. And actually, Pastor Lisa was one who had kind of shared this with me. And at the time, I don't even know that I really paid enough attention to it. And then it kind of kept resonating with my mind as the months passed. But she was like, it took you 9 months to create this baby. Like, you really think you're going to be healed in 6 weeks? Yeah. Like, we went on a walk one day. And she was like, just don't set that expectation. You're setting yourself up for failure if you're giving yourself that thought process. And I was like, okay. So I was like, so then I put in my mind 9 months. Okay, by 9 months, I'll feel normal. But really, it took me about a year. And a big part of that, just getting into like the physical details of it, was I really wanted to nurse and be able to breastfeed my son. And so your hormones are continually impacted by that. And it's just an added, energy strain on your body in order to do that. And so it wasn't until I had stopped that I felt like my body finally started getting back to a place where I had mental clarity, had my strength back, all that kind of stuff. It was just different until that point. So by his first birthday, when I look at pictures of myself, I'm like, okay, I think I can start to see me in there somewhere. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Kind of crazy.
where in your, I mean, like I said earlier, when I look at your social media and like I look at your workouts or look at how you're trying to reach women, a lot of the things that I see is like, are you dealing with postpartum, or like, how can I help you gain energy through motherhood or through raising your toddler? And obviously, like, yes, you're a Christian, and prior to even like having your business or even starting being a coach or a fitness coach, you weren't Christian,
Yeah.
but now you are, and you're doing business in this way. How has that truly, like, what was like the moment that God made it clear that this was more than fitness? Because I'm sure, like, I know we're also in like a connect group together with the staff ladies, and I remember you had shared about how a woman in your who's taking your classes, or who kind of registered to get to learn more about your fitness, she had shared that there was more things about like Jesus and the relationship that she was also trying to understand. And I think you had shared with our group that you got a chance to like minister to her.
Yeah.
And I think like my question to you is like, what was that moment that God made it clear that this was more than fitness and that there was actually ministry attached to it? Because what you're doing is more than just setting up your camera and doing some workouts for people. Like, you actually conversate with a lot of women.
Yeah. I think when it comes to an online business, I've really struggled with this over the years of like, how can I actually feel connected to people and not feel like I'm just talking to an empty room?
Yeah.
You know, sometimes when you're recording stuff, and I mean, even for sermons and stuff, when you're doing it and it's being recorded, it's hard to feel like you can relate to that person on the other side of the screen. And that's why I've really shifted the model of what I've done, of like, the online membership just being, you just play the videos, you never talk to me, all you do is follow what I do. I was like, this isn't it. Like, it didn't feel fulfilling to me.
Wow.
And so I kept praying, like, God, what do I do different? Like, why do I feel like this gap between the people that I want to help and the way that I'm helping them? And so that's when I realized, like, I wanted to open up more of a community element of bringing women together so that I can talk to them one-on-one, and so that we can work out in a group environment. Because being able to relate with all the other women, all going through the same things, you realize, like, you start getting strength from that. You start being understood. You feel like you're seen. You don't feel like you're isolated in the scenario. But ultimately, I just feel like God keeps putting it on my heart that, like, you can help. I want to help people, and that doesn't necessarily mean that every single person needs to do my workouts for that to be possible. You know? And so the fact that I have this platform on Instagram or whatever it is, I'm like, first and foremost, I want to know, like, how are you doing? You know, and when I ask those questions sometimes, like, people are just so taken aback that I'm not trying to sell them
a product.
Like, the Instagram DM that they get is, one, it's actually me. I don't have a team running my account. And two, that I'm not trying to sell you something unless I really think it's going to actually benefit you. And so I think that was really the shift of, like, this can be helping people, and then the workouts and the community and like the money making aspect of the business will come. And having that shift of, like, help people first, figure out the business part second. And that alleviated so much stress for me too, as trying to figure out what it means to be a business owner, of, no, God can move in all these ways, and I can help all these people that may or may not ever actually sign up and spend $1. And I
it's
want
so rewarding.
That.
That's probably like the biggest reward that you get too.
It is so rewarding.
As even like a mother, like, you get to talk to these people who are dealing with things that you know, they don't know you personally, but for some reason they have this ability to open up and to share what they're truly going on and how they're really doing. And sometimes I feel like, I mean, we're talking about faith here too, but sometimes I feel like when I meet somebody for the first time, whether it's at church or young adults or whatever, I sometimes feel like, oh, it's so much easier for you to probably talk to me because I know nothing about you. And it's easier for you to open up to me because I don't know your story. I don't know where you came from. And it's in those moments where I have learned and realized that so many people are just looking for somebody to, like, talk to and spill their heart out. And I feel like you have just created that environment through your business, through something as, like, simple as, let me help you with your movements. But also, you're going to get a relational side to me that maybe I'm not going to talk to you about Jesus every single day, but you're going to get some sort of Jesus through my conversation. And I love that, because I think that so many people who run businesses and also have a heart for ministry sometimes don't know how to correlate the two together. And I love what you do, is because you are for women and you're for a movement of mothers, really, to be like their best selves and to operate in everything that God has called them to be, which is being a mother.
Yeah.
And it's massive. And so I'm so honored because I can't wait. I'm not a mother. I keep saying that, but I will be.
Your day will come.
Yeah, it will come.
And it's going to be amazing.
I'm going to be carrying a massive someone baby. So I will definitely need the movement.
You will have the strength. Yeah. Don't worry.
But I just want to throw a scripture in there. It's Ephesians 2:10. It says, we are God's handwork created in Christ Jesus to do good works. And I truly believe that you are using everything that God's given you. And I know this past weekend, we even talked about, like Pastor Darian, he talked about the talents. Mm-hmm. And how like you're truly in that season where I just can see that you're multiplying every single thing that God's given you, even the pain.
Yeah.
And you're learning how to take the things that you've gone through in postpartum and you're learning how to multiply that so that you can allow other people to experience God's healing and God's hand over their life.
Yeah.
But another question that I have for you is for the mothers who are listening, who are silently battling a postpartum depression or physical pain, how can you minister to that both? So how can you minister to the pain both practically and spiritually? Because I a lot of people here are probably shocked that we're talking about postpartum.
Yeah.
But then also probably almost like, wow, this is exactly what I need to hear. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of the times, like you said too, like if you're not well on the spiritual side too, as well as the physical side, it goes hand in hand.
Absolutely. Well, first, I don't want to sugarcoat it. So I avoided the term postpartum depression or postpartum anxiety for a long time because I didn't want to admit that that's what I was experiencing. And honestly, as a Christian, I think I really struggled to be willing to speak up about my struggle because it made me think like, is God not in the middle of this? Like, why didn't he prevent this from happening? You know what I mean? Like I was believing this lie that if God really had my back, why would I be going through this? Mm-hmm. And it was through like prayer and just really talking it through that I realized I just needed to speak up and ask for help. And it was actually Pastor Ju that came to me one day and she was just checking in on me. And she said, that's why God made the church. Mm-hmm. So that he can work through everybody around you to like pour into you and give you the love that he's trying to give you. If you keep keeping it to yourself, no one can infiltrate that. No one can know what's going on.
True.
And it's not a sign that God's not there. God's trying to help you through this, but you have to be willing to let people in.
Right.
And so that's when I finally started speaking up and saying, okay, this is what I'm going through. But it took me a long time of trying to keep it into myself, and I was isolating myself. And so, it is easy to want to fall into that trap. And so to the person that's battling that and isn't willing to speak up, I just want to tell you, like, tell somebody what you're going through, even if it's physical pain, if it's, mental health, that kind of stuff. Keeping it to yourself is never the process for healing.
Yeah.
You can't keep it all to yourself.
Right.
And God is with you in those quiet, like, alone moments. You are not actually alone. God's with you in them. But at the same time, you have to speak up and start letting people in.
Yeah.
And, practically, there's so much that you can do because your body is healing and your body feels different and your organs have moved all around. And so there's so many different moving parts, like literally, that you feel like, how am I supposed to have control over all of this?
Right.
And so I can't say enough, like, bring in the experts, like bring in a pelvic floor therapist, bring in a lactation consultant. Like there are people that do these for careers. I had no idea any of these things existed until fortunately my sister, so she gave birth 3 months before me.
Okay.
So she was like literally 1 trimester ahead of me.
Wow.
In this whole process the whole time. And so she was an incredible resource and just would look back at where I was. She was like, 3 months ago, I was really struggling with X or Y or Z. And so she was recommending like, I wish I'd gotten a lactation consultant sooner. I wish I'd gone to pelvic floor therapy sooner. I wish I had talked to a therapist sooner. And she was like encouraging me to do all of those things.
Yeah.
And so I felt like it was like unnecessary and a bit aggressive, but I was like, no, like bring in the big guns.
Yeah.
Like why drag this out longer than it needs to be when I could just have the support?
That's a word.
Like, why would I not?
Yeah.
And
bring in the experts.
Bring in the experts because you're not expected to know how to do all this stuff.
Right.
And so that would be my biggest encouragement is like bring in some support.
Yeah.
Tell a friend, tell another mom what you're experiencing, and someone who's actually going to pray for you also.
Yeah.
Because I think one thing I've really kind of struggled navigating in mom life is it's really easy to end up in these mom communities where everybody's like commiserating and just talking about the struggle.
Wow.
But there's no like end goal. Like it's just the struggle.
We're just going to stay here.
We're just going to sit here in it. It's just going to be hard. Oh, it's miserable all the time. Being a mom is so hard, so hard. It is hard. But like I want to be around the mom that's like, it's hard, but like I'm going to rock it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or I
like,
made it.
Yeah, it's tough, but like I figured this out.
Yes.
Like, yes, this is a challenge, but like I prayed through it. Or how can I pray? And that's where like my connect group has come in. Even Pastor Lisa like praying into me, and she's like looking at me and she's like, "You got this. Like you're doing such a good job." And I'm like, "I'm drowning over here." And she's like, "No, you're crushing it. Like you figured out X, Y, Z." And so it's this community and it's the support, but it's the positive support and people who are actually going to pray and pour into you. And not just let you sit in your stuck. Yeah. It's just not worth it.
Through your business movement with Leanne, have you experienced a number of, I guess you would say like for us, breakthrough?
Yeah.
Yeah. And can you share like one story?
Yeah. So I have quite a few moms that are, in kind of a 12-week timeline of like, we're going to move through a set structure just so that you have something to follow, because decision fatigue as a mom is like unreal.
Yeah.
You're tired of making decisions. You're like, if I have to figure out one more dinner or one more grocery list or whatever, you're just tapped out. And you're like, the last thing I want to think about is like where to begin with my workouts when that's not what you're trained in. So providing structure is just easing that thought. Like you don't have to think about that. I'll take care of that part for you. But in that process is also working through the mindset struggles of like, I can't work out because I have kids. I'm like, no, we're gonna work out because you have kids. Or I don't have the energy to work out. And I'm like, you don't have energy and that's why you need to work out. Like, I'm not here to drain all of your energy. Right. I want to boost your energy to get you back up so you can crush the day. Yeah. And so many times it is like small wins, but when they keep happening, that's when breakthrough is coming, because it's like it keeps building on each other. I love that. Of like, okay, well, I did a walk today. I didn't think I was going to. I feel 10 times better. Wow, I slept better last night because I did that. I think I'm going to stay hydrated now. Oh, let me go ahead and do the mobility because I'm like feeling a little bit better this morning since I got a good night of sleep. Why don't I go ahead and do this next workout? Like, I feel like I'm getting the ball rolling, and they can start seeing like the change come because they're feeling it. Right. And it's not absolutely like, I want you to look at, you want to look in at pictures of yourself and be like, okay, I can see it. It's like paying off. Yeah. That part matters. But you feel it before you ever see it. Yeah. And, so true. And it's like the biggest breakthroughs that I've been hearing up front is like, I can actually feel my core again. When postpartum, like your core stretches out. Right. It all comes back together, but not in a tight sense. Okay. It's just not how it recovers. And then it's like literally your brain and your abs just don't, it's like they're not talking to each other anymore. You like try to do something and nothing. You're like, do I have, it's like, if you're numb and you're like, okay, I can't feel anything. Like maybe I'm moving, maybe I'm not. I don't know. So those types of things, when they start connecting, it's like light bulbs are going off. But then they're also like, wait, I'm feeling better. Wait, I had energy today. Yeah. No, I was actually encouraged and like felt like doing my workout without feeling like it was a dread. So it's when all of those things start building up together that I feel like you achieve breakthrough. Yeah. But it's not like this one hard set, like, finally today was a good day, because we don't have control over so much of our schedule. Right. Especially moms that are stay-at-home moms. They're, all over the place, and their kids are like crushing snacks on the yoga mats. Yeah. And, it's embracing that and them seeing the mindset shift of like, no, this is how it's going to be. And I love it. Yeah. To me, that's the breakthrough.
I feel like that plays a lot of a massive role even in our own relationship with God, right? I mean, like, I know for some people, I lead young adults here at Inspired Church, but I know for some people I talk to, it's like the little things of opening your Bible in the morning. It's like the little things of actually spending time with Jesus, and even reading a couple scriptures and writing a post-it note of a scripture and putting it somewhere and rereading it. That's like the little things that lead up to breakthrough. Yeah. And I love that you said that, because I think a lot of people here too listening, like whether you are or aren't or haven't gone through postpartum, like there's little gems here for you. Like I think for me too, I'm picking up on things. I'm like, oh, that's a word. Like that's a word for me. I'm not going through postpartum, but that's a word that I can take with me, knowing that the little things that I do today can allow me to experience breakthrough in the end.
Yeah, well, even to that, like the mom to be, like if you can establish some of those things and like really be strong in them through pregnancy. I mean, they even talk about, how important movement is through pregnancy, which I also agree. But, establishing those good habits of the devotionals and prayer and praying over that time leading up to postpartum. I'm not trying to like scare everybody into thinking that postpartum is going to be miserable. Like just bring in the village that you need,
now.
Bring it in now, build it up, because everyone thinks about, okay, let me get to birth. And you're like, okay, birth happens. And then that's when like the party starts. That's like when things get really good. But at the same time, you're starting this whole new version of your life. So I think it's just continuing to implement those small habits and the small details and those things and bringing God into the middle of them now is going to set you up for success to really be crushing motherhood and be like, okay, I got God with me. I'm fine. I can do this.
I think that's really good for people to know. I think a lot of the times people probably wait for a community.
Yeah.
And then, there's all those excuses, that I hear, from people and friends who are like, oh, well, I have a kid now, or my kid's on a time schedule now, so I can't do that, or I can't be a part of that. But really, I think what I realize is that we preach community all the time, but community is so important for even things like this.
Yeah.
And I know some people who are like, oh, I'm gonna get back into connect groups. I'm going to get back into the building, or I'm going to get back into church when my kid turns 1.
Yeah. When blank.
Yes. And like, okay, your kid turns 1. Okay, now like, where are you? Like you're, and they're like, oh, I don't like bringing my kid outside, or my kid has to sleep at this time. I'm like, okay, well then like you're missing out.
Yeah.
And I think through like even people who have experience or go through postpartum, it's like sometimes you've reached that, like, okay, well, my kid is now 6 months. Like, oh, well, I still feel alone.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, if we had, for someone who we can help the people now, like even for myself, like if I make sure I welcome in community from the beginning and I welcome in a support system and a group of ladies who are going to pray for me and speak life over me, speak life over my womb, speak life over my marriage, so that I can know that when I do hit that season where maybe I, in Jesus' name, don't go through postpartum depression, then I still have that circle around me where I'm not looking around and I'm like, I'm all alone in this pile of clothes and throw up and poop diapers and,
Yeah.
And so I think that's what Arise is for our Arise ministry. It's all about community of women. And that's really what I'm Her is. It's about stewarding the community that God's given us and allowing women to step into their full potential in Jesus Christ. And that's really allowing people to be a part of your life too. Like that's part of the call of God over our life, is allowing women in, allowing people into your life. But I have one last question. And what is your prayer over the moms listening right now, especially those who feel like they have lost themselves in the midst of having children? I think I hear a lot of, I see a lot of people who have gotten lost in motherhood.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are trying to find their way back. I know we have a mutual friend who goes to our Honolulu location, who she's a mom, I think, of a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
And I love what she's doing, how she's just like, she's like, I went through postpartum and I went through some pain, with my body and after delivery. But now, what I'm going to do? What she did, she started a walking moms group.
Yeah.
And she had like over 40 women come and walk with her on a given day. And she's just like, she's killing it. She's like, you know what? I'm no longer going to sit in here.
Yeah.
If I'm not going to, if maybe they're not around me, I'm going to go and find it. And I'm going to go start it. And so what is like your prayer for like the moms listening, especially the ones who feel like they have lost themselves?
Yeah.
Through
so
motherhood?
My heart goes out to those moms so much, because I could have gotten there so much faster if I had brought in community faster. Because like you always hear the phrase like it takes a village.
Yeah.
Well, the village doesn't just like come knocking on your door the day that you have a baby.
Right.
Like, I think there's like this false impression that that's what happens. And yeah, if you have, a strong family support system and stuff, you do have some people that are there for you. But the biggest takeaway, you have to build your village.
So true.
Build your village. Like, if you don't have one,
Yeah.
take a really hard look. And to me, that was a really hard truth that I felt like I needed to like swallow my pride a little bit and be like, the reason I don't have a village is because I didn't make one.
Wow. Wow.
And that's on me.
Right.
You know, and that's why I'm struggling. So I'm like, okay, let me build my village. Let me find people I can work out with on the weekends that I'm going to enjoy, you know, and get excited for again, because I haven't been excited to work out in a long time. Let me find my community group, you know, within the church that's going to pray for me. Let me find, you know, one or two people that I do feel like I can trust and I can call so that I can take a date night so my husband,
I love that.
you know, can have time together and stuff. So I think my prayer for those women is that you know, have that vision of like what your village looks like. And also the confidence to actually step up and ask for it.
Yeah.
Because it's really, really easy as moms. I think this is a lie of the enemy to say that like, you know, you're a burden or asking for help is a burden. And that's not true. You just need other people, you know, in your life to help you through this process. And parenting you need support. Yeah. And so yeah, I think that, you know, I pray against that lie of the enemy that you are not a burden.
Right.
Asking for help is not a bad thing. Yeah. It's speaking up and actually having that dependence on God to say, I need help in this area. Help me in this spot where I don't feel like I have it figured out, and allowing yourself to have that dependence on God. And then also that, you know, they would be confident in the role that God gave you. God made you a mother.
Yeah.
And I feel like when I was in those first months postpartum, even the first year, I was like, are you sure you didn't make a mistake? Like, I really don't think I've got this all figured out. I thought I was going to be like crushing it. I'm like, this is anything but crushing it.
Wow.
And from the outside looking in, other people were telling me I was crushing it. And I was like, no, I'm not. But it was in my time of prayer that God helped me build that confidence back to be like, no, you're here.
Yeah.
I've intentionally put you here for this time, for this reason, for this boy.
He's entrusted you.
You've entrusted me with him, and it's up to me to steward it to the best of my abilities. But to have that, I pray that they have that confidence that they can step into it and know that they're there and it's supposed to be them.
Yeah, that's so awesome. I love that. It's supposed to be you.
Yeah.
You were called to be that mother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I hope that you guys were blessed because surely I was. I know that when I become a mother, I will be going back to this podcast, listening to it, taking Leanne's movement classes, trying to get my core back into place. Maybe I need to take it now.
You already have a strong core. I know you work out.
So strong. So strong. But thank you so much for being a part of this. I know that people are going to be so blessed by your story, blessed by your business. And I pray that women all over the world who are listening to this episode, that you would find healing in postpartum, that you would find the peace of God over your life, over your child, over your household. And even if you are going through maybe postpartum depression, or you're scared that you may enter into that after you give birth, can I just encourage you, find your people, find your group, find your women, your ladies who are going to empower you, who are going to pray for you, who are going to show up for you, and like what Leanne said, for your village. Hey ladies, wasn't that episode so powerful? I loved having my friend Leanne here. I hope that each and every one of you who are listening, that you got to glean in and you got to take something from this episode, because I truly believe that God is going to be with all of us women who are bearing children, having children, had children, all of the things, because I know that God has a special plan and purpose for all of us. And I just want to say, if you want to learn more about the Movement with Leanne, you can go ahead and follow her on her Instagram. It's at Movement with Leanne, and we'll have it on the show notes as well. But please go ahead, message her, DM her if you have any questions. Please go and visit her website. She is amazing. She's awesome. And I truly believe that all women, all mothers, that you can totally benefit from this. And also, I just want to share, if you are looking for a community, make sure you guys go ahead and go get involved in the Arise community that we have as well. I'm going to have that link below for you. And make sure wherever you are, whether you are in church or you are a part of a church community, get into a group, because I promise you that is the village that God has for you. And so wherever you are in the world, we love you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe, share it to everybody, because I believe that this podcast is going to help a lot of mothers. So we love you guys. Have the best week ever, and we'll see you next month.